I hope you choose violence this time. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. I know that I'm well loved for my firebrand personality, but to be honest, it's just pretty sad. For those of you who don't know, Ethan Klein and his friends over in the H3 pod dedicated about 2 hours of the podcast to doing like the platonic ideal of a bad faith Vaush is a pedophile takedown.
So the YouTuber and streamer Vaush has recently been busted with bestiality hentai and lolicon on his computer. I can't show the video or images here on YouTube for obvious reasons, but it's all over Twitter, it's all over the basket weaving forum at the moment, it's all over the internet, so if you look for it, you can pretty easily find it. So what happened was during one of his streams, he was trying to save an image to his gallery, but then pulled up his gallery by mistake, and then the entire internet got to see what was in his gallery. And of course, it was children doing indecent acts with horses, because that's the sort of man Vaush is. And this is Vaush's damage control stream. He's under fire by another figure on the online left, Ethan Klein of the H3H3 podcast, and because the fact he has this stuff on his computer is fundamentally indefensible and just optically terrible, this video is a masterclass in how Vaush uses certain techniques in order to manipulate his followers. So in this video, we are going to be going through some important moments of his stream and revisiting some of the things he said about this topic earlier, because allegations that he is attracted to minors have plagued him for a long time, because he's made arguments defending the ownership of CP and has admitted to pleasuring himself to Lolly before, so this controversy isn't exactly new. So this is basically one long cope stream circle jerk for his followers. Let's dive in.
Including like everything, 5 years ago, like stuff that's been addressed so long that, I mean, I didn't see it. I saw people in my Discord talk about it. I didn't want to watch it myself, partly because it would just make me upset, and partly because I was getting a haircut at the time.
Do you see the little shell game he's playing here? He has said in the past that people should be able to own CP, like legally. That's something that people should just be able to own without getting thrown in prison for it. And now he's been caught with Lolly on his computer. And he's going, oh, you're bringing up old stuff I've already debunked. This is the platonic ideal of a bad faith argument. I don't know anyone who says other people are making bad faith arguments as frequently as Vaush does, but then makes bad faith arguments themselves as consistently as Vaush does. This man is always arguing in bad faith, and he's doing it again here. And he just admitted he hasn't even seen what Ethan Klein has said about him. He hasn't even seen their stream. He's saying it's bad faith, and this isn't even a review. He doesn't even know what they've said about him, according to what he's saying here. I have a suspicion that he's already actually seen the stream. He knows what arguments they've made, and this is just a spin job / damage control. But just think about this for 2 seconds. You're going to accuse them of making bad faith arguments based on what someone else told you. You're going to make a video that is over an hour long about the fact that 2 other major YouTubers on your side of the culture war called you out for being interested in bestiality and lolly without even reviewing what they actually said. You're not even going to view the video yourself. You're not even going to actually address their claims firsthand. Right? His strategy here is just to act like this is no big deal, say that they're attacking him just for internet drama or whatever, or because people hate him just because he's so charismatic, and to breeze over this and to have his followers stick their heads in the sand and pretend like it's not a real thing and it didn't happen. This whole thing is about optics and attempting to save face.
But like it wasn't even like anything temporal. It was literally just like, fuck this guy. My understanding is that they were even doing like the Tacoma wept jokes and pretending that the Tacoma wept thing wasn't a joke. Like the thing that people pretend to do where they see an obvious joke and act like I'm being serious as a way of implying that it's like cringy or whatever. So if it's reached that level of like indiscriminate shit talking and smearing, then it's obviously not any kind of like pointed criticism. So with that in mind, like what do I do? The 89th debunk on this? It's nonsense. It's mostly just really saddening because I thought that Ethan Klein and I were on good terms, which I know he made fun of. I think at some point he was like, huh, as if I would ever be friends with this pedophile, which is really disingenuous because the last time we talked on Twitter DMs, he was really friendly to me.
He's got to poison the well and attack Ethan Klein's character here. And I think it's especially interesting how he says all of these things, and he really doesn't have any of the vitriol or fire you would expect if someone who you thought was on your side turned around and stabbed you in the back in the way that he's alleging that Ethan Klein just stabbed him in the back. And you can tell this is because he is so single-minded throughout this entire video. His focus is entirely on maintaining his character in the eyes of his fans. He has no room for emotion or anger or concern. He is in the moment, spinning, misdirecting them, making this about something else.
If you're not paying for child porn, if you're just getting it, there is no moral or legal argument against that.
We've all jerked it to Lolly at some point or another.
What age android girl do you think the average American man would be most attracted to?
I think it would be somewhere
Do you not
from
want to answer
14.
this question?
No, I think it'd be somewhere from 14 to 17.
I was having sex with other kids. Lots of it. Gross, gross sex. More than you'll ever imagine.
Recognize this empirically correct fact that I am about to spit. It is possible for an adult and a child to have a sexual relationship and for it to have positive outcomes on the child as well.
Do you think you can call in and talk it over with them? Maybe this is your ticket in? Well, I mean, if they want me to go on, I will, you know. But with stuff like this, with like after a 2-hour well-poisoning, bad faith pedo accusation thing that could have been dispelled by watching any of the innumerable times I've talked about it.
He's never talked about this most recent clip, though. This is new stuff. This isn't any of the old allegations. This isn't any of the arguments he's made in the past. This is new video from one of his streams of him having Lolly on his computer. Lolly and horse stuff.
It's very obvious that the effort is not to have any kind of like fair dialogue, but rather just to tear me down. I don't mind Ethan covering drama or even not being like aware of everything that I've said, but the degree of bad faith there was like past the point of it being perceptibly mendable, I feel, which I don't know, is very, very saddening.
He really doesn't seem all that sad about it. He seems more concerned about what his chat will now think of him.
Why is it a recurring thing that you get accused of? Well, for the most part, I think it's just because people hate me. Unfortunately, social bias is a very like inertial process where the more, you all remember this probably from high school, or if you're in high school, you know it now, which is people who are disliked because they're disliked because they're disliked. There's clout in disavowing people who are already disliked. So if you benefit from disliking people who are disliked, and so on, right?
And there you have it. I'm a victim. I'm just persecuted. It's because other people hate me and they're getting clout off of dogpiling on me. I'm just a victim in this situation and they're just bullies, basically.
I don't really think there's another explanation because this was like a fully prepared hit piece, not even some kind of like organic disagreement or upsetness or whatever. One of the things that they did, which, and by the way, I'm hearing this secondhand. So I admit if I'm wrong, then that's on me. I don't want to watch it. Honestly, it would just upset me. But they acted as though the whole horse thing was some kind of like secret that I'm trying to play off as a joke. Like they were like, we found out like he really does like horse dicks or whatever, which to construct that impression, you would need to be willfully dishonest. I have emotes making fun of it. Like that is a level of willful dishonesty that I think it's stuff like that, you know, because it means there's no real sincere effort at I don't know, engaging with or uncovering any kind of drama. It's just an effort at like character assassination.
Did you hear this guy? He really just went, I'm hearing this secondhand, so anything I get wrong in my recounting of what they did isn't my fault, since I'm just too upset to view the stream. But if they were acting as though I hadn't already told the world that I was attracted to horse phalluses, then that's clearly just character assassination. No, they were concerned with what those animated horses were doing with underage girls, Vaush. That's the controversy. That's why this is even a story.
Are you going to watch it on stream? No! To my understanding, and again, tell me if I'm wrong, they didn't say anything that hasn't been said to me before by like Twitter Nazis or whatever. Most of the stuff they said was in content indistinguishable from the most obviously hateful bad faith stuff that I've seen, which means it's already addressed. There are videos on it.
Yeah, most of the stuff, not all of the stuff.
You know? That's one of the things that always gets me about stuff like this, is that I've never been one to hide controversy, right? I have done and said, like, I would say fairly sussy stuff in the time that I've been streaming, you know? I have no filter, and I'm a wacky guy. You know, it is known. So I've said stuff, the initial clips where I was comparing child pornography and child slavery, like, you know, work exploitation, I don't think it's wrong for a person to look at that and go, huh, that's pretty suspicious. And for that reason, I've always tried to be upfront or like clear. If people have an issue with what I've done or said, I always want there to be a video that I can point to, you know?
Let's take a look at that video to really get a sense of what Vaush has to say. Let's take a look at that video in full context for any Vaush fans that happen to have made it this far.
Do you believe porn, which includes bestiality, increases the prevalence of zoophiles? Possibly, but I still don't care. I still think that, like, zoophile porn, like drawn stuff, it should be 100% legal. In fact, and this is going to be a real hot take, I have yet to hear a convincing moral or legal argument as to why possession of child pornography should be illegal. Actual child pornography. How's that for a hot fucking take? Now, to clarify on this take, as I feel it necessary to do so, we do not, in this country, typically criminalize people who have procured media or resources which were the product of abuse. It is not illegal to own necklaces that have slave diamonds or whatever. What are they called? Yeah, blood diamonds. Yeah, all of our clothes produced by sweatshops, our computers, the silicon and lithium mined from literal fucking slaves. In our society, we have already deemed that people are not responsible for the mechanisms by which the media they consume and the content they engage with are produced. No. All you're about to make some really dumb fuck arguments. Because you encourage the production of porn? Yeah, and you encourage the slave mining that goes into blood diamonds when you buy the necklaces. You encourage the mining of and the slaves that mine the lithium when you purchase electronics, okay? It is the same thing. Don't come at me with your dumb fuck feels arguments, okay? If you feel you have a cogent argument, levy it my way, but I'm not interested in listening to your fucking feels on the issue. Vaush, bro, you're gonna need a pause. Whoop, look who just got banned. Oh, look who gets fucking banned for saying stupid shit in my channel. I don't tolerate that shit here, nope. Ooh, bruh, you have a point that I can't really argue against, but bruh, you should take a pause, bruh. Ooh, bruh, yikes, bruh, don't like that, bruh. Ooh, bruh. Ooh, bad look, bruh. Big oof, bruh. Fifi bad, feelings hurt. Thank you, Anarcho-Tac. I'm objectively right on this. They're morally identical. The difference being, of course, that there are far more people caught up in the slave labor and exploitation of the developing world than there are children we rape. So if anything, owning child pornography is probably a hell of a lot more ethical than wearing the t-shirts on your backs right now. You like that argument? Ooh, you like that? You like that moral culpability? You're all worse than fucking CP owners, and I am too. Do you like that? No ethical consumption under capitalism. Shit sucks, right? But if we accept that argument for slave labor, then we definitely have to accept it for child pornography. None of it is... Yeah, I agree. None of it is ethical. But we've already made this social decision that people are not responsible for the systems by which the stuff they own is produced. We've already made that decision. You're right, but you're kind of revealing your power level. No, this is exactly what I fucking mean. I'm right, but I'm revealing my fucking pedo power level because I'm right. No, this is a moral inconsistency in society. The answer should be that all of these things are bad.
I personally know people who are victims of this crime, and Vaush is here to tell us that we're literally as bad as the people who spank it to this material on their computers because you wear a shirt and shoes. I can't just end capitalism and turn the world into a socialist utopia at will. I can't control where my clothes came from. I need to buy clothes to wear something, to go to work, to make money, to live. You know what is entirely in people's control? Not having CP on their computers. That is totally unnecessary. But only a guilty mind would equate these two things. This is why this person said power level. Because it doesn't make sense. Going, there's no ethical consumption under capitalism, ergo you're worse than someone who literally spanks it to CP, is just nonsensical. And his followers are so brainwashed they just make excuses for the things he says. And he has already by his own admission said that he's viewed this material before.
We've all jerked it to Lolly at some point or another. We've all Well, you don't have a penis.
We have all we have at some point in our lives been going fucking crazy on some hentai site, and we've been fucking stroking as hard and fast as we can, and then after we nut, we go back, look over our history tab, and we go like, oh jeez, oh boy, some of these girls looked pretty young. Okay, I don't give a fuck.
We have not all done that, though. This is something that Vaush is saying to justify the fact that he does this in his head. He's downplaying these things. But let's take a quick look at something else he's said.
The thing that bothers me is people who pretend there's no relationship whatsoever between, like, drawn lolly shit and actual attraction to children. Of course there's a relationship between those things. It's ridiculous to pretend otherwise. So they need to be aware of that, if anything.
Are you saying that based on common sense, or is there any evidence of that?
I think it's categorical. I think that the fetishization of youth, to the extent that you're fetishizing the bodies or mentalities of underage people, is categorically harmful. Because even if somehow, and I don't know if there's any research indicating this, even if somehow you could find that there was zero correlation between any criminal behavior there at all, and you know, the widespread consumption of hentai, lolicon, whatever, you know, I still think that it normalizes quite negative things.
Well, that seems like a little bit of a 180 now, doesn't it? Let's go back to seeing how he tries to smooth all these contradictions over.
Like, hey, I understand that this looks bad. There you go. Like, here, I talk about it extensively. The Thought Slime Meltdown stream, you know, there you go. I talk about it extensively. But usually when hit pieces like this are done on me, there's an effort to make it seem as though I hide everything. You know what I mean? Like all of this is like a deep dive or secret information that has been uncovered that's never been addressed before because I don't want you to see it. And it reminds me very much of the, like, I don't know, like Alex Jones, they don't want you to know this thing. It's just like, it's conspiracism for the purpose of making me seem more sinister than I am.
If you bring any of this stuff up, you're literally Alex Jones because he's addressed all of it. Right.
You should really watch this segment. They didn't just watch the out-of-context clips. They watched some of the explanations, too. No. Oh, pigeon. Jesus. Leapt across the desk. No. I've done this so many times. So many times. Like, it's been 5 years, guys. 5 years I've done this. And every time it's the same thing.
Hey, you know, they kind of reviewed the things you said to explain, quote-unquote, the other bad stuff you said, and they poked all kinds of holes in that, too. You really should respond to this. No, I've responded to this so many times. It's done. It's over. Not even worth thinking about. Let's just all focus on something else. That's literally what this entire stream is. It's disgusting.
Every time things go down this road, it's always the same collection of, like, really aggressively bad faith, obviously dishonest. You know, I think at one point, I saw this from the Discord, somebody said that Ethan said that I had like a folder full of CP or something. What the fuck? Like, what am I, like, what is there to respond to when that's the level? Like, that's the degree of...
I want you to take note here because he is great at priming his followers with these thought-stopping techniques. If this video goes viral enough that his followers show up to it and leave a bunch of comments, I guarantee you some of them will just go, this is just another Vaush bad video. Because he's already primed them to interpret any criticism of him at all as bad faith. He's saying everything they brought up in this stream, which he admits to not watching, is stuff he's already debunked. People wonder why Vaush fans are so obstinate, and it's because they sometimes either one, refuse to engage with material that actually challenges their view, and two, it's because they already trust him and he's great at spin. You're outside this parasocial online cult, so it doesn't work on you. But for a lot of people, unfortunately, they're totally wrapped up in this, and they go so far as to defend his disgusting, degenerate, evil arguments.
Keemstar said the whole folder full of CP thing. It's Keemstar! Who cares? It's Keemstar! Wow, who cares? Keemstar, okay, I don't give a fuck. Ethan Klein, different people. Different people. My God, I can blur out the disingenuous nonsense from communities that I expect this from. This is one of the reasons why bullying from other people on the left is different and feels different to everyone, I mean, not just me, than like getting attacked from people on the right. If you are, I don't know, a random left-leaning person and some right-wingers say mean stuff about you, it's very easy to write that off because you can go, well, okay, of course, like obviously, other side of the culture war. But with if it's from within the left, there's like a pretense of good faith and fair play that they can use to exploit your your vulnerabilities to an extent. So to that end, like obviously it's going to hurt more coming from Ethan Klein, but I guess it's a mistake that I can only make once with him.
Yeah, see, he's way more concerned because he's under fire from someone on his own team, as I said already, and he can't just brush this off. Like, if Matt Walsh were the only person covering this story, he could say, that's Matt Walsh, and Matt Walsh is evil because he hates trans people. But this is Ethan Klein. This is someone who has credibility, who is a leftist, who is a recognized and respected figure in these online circles and communities. And as morally bankrupt as a lot of leftists are, they're still not going to want to associate with someone who spanks it to Lolly.
The bridge can be mended. No. Guys, come on. I understand you're all viewing this from a content perspective, but I don't find it very funny. The bridge, they said Vaush would probably rape real children. Yeah, there was a degree of bad faith there that is not, like, addressable on my end, you know?
Is that statement bad faith, though? Let's go back and see what Vaush himself has already said on this issue.
The thing that bothers me is people who pretend there's no relationship whatsoever between, like, drawn lolly shit and actual attraction to children. Of course there's a relationship between those things. Ridiculous to pretend otherwise. Seriously, Vaush, you should probably engage with more than this is disappointing. This could actually hurt your outrage. Oh, of course it can. Obviously, it goes without saying that this is like an egregious attack on my career. But first of all, putting that as the first argument is kind of disingenuous, I feel. Like, there are plenty of things that even I've done that hurt my career, like, constantly. There are plenty of positions that I could take or arguments I could make. Maybe they would be disingenuous, but they would benefit my career. The real problem for me, I guess, is that this is kind of just a reaffirmation of the idea that I should never really look to outreach to anyone for any reason. Which I guess is true and has been true for a while.
Even his fans are like, oh man, it's over. You're done. You actually have to address this because the stuff you're giving us now is not gonna cut it. It's not gonna cut it. It's over for you.
He did watch the context for a lot of your clips. I'm afraid I don't believe that's true. I'm sorry, but I don't believe that. I'm sure he like procured snippets of me talking about it and then they all like talked over it to disagree with it, but I don't believe that. Not to mention, like, you know, you could just have me on.
Oh man, they are calling him out. Yeah, Vaush, they did. They saw the context. They saw the full thing. I'm afraid I don't believe that. I'm afraid it's just not something I think is realistic. You seem perfectly willing to believe other things your followers have said about their video. Why doesn't he just clear this all up and actually respond to what they said at length? Oh wait, that's because he knows the material they're reviewing is indefensible. He knows this is so bad, he can't do what he does with other videos, where he'll just stop Matt Walsh or Ben Shapiro right in the middle of them talking and then make this long refutation to make it seem like they're stupid. This is so bad. This is so terrible for him that he can't even like approach this in the bad faith misdirection way he normally does. He has to make this damage control stream instead and not address it.
As a product, largely, I guess, of my arrogant belief that I can always effectively convey myself no matter how bad the environment, I will still go on if I am invited on, but the well is so poisoned that in all likelihood, the only thing I could ever do if going on would be to act out the role of a flustered buffoon failing to defend himself against a crowd of people jeering at him. You know, there's a big difference. Like if there was any sincere interest in getting my perspective on it, why did it play out like this? Obviously there isn't. The only reason that I would come on would be to play that stooge. Now, do I think I could play that stooge so effectively that I might actually help them understand or maybe get across to Ethan maybe? Because I'm delusional? Maybe, I don't know. But it's not a role that I particularly enjoy taking. That's not the role that I want to play.
So Vaush is willing to do a very delicate maneuver here because his house is basically on fire. If they were to actually invite him on the podcast to talk about this, he's willing to do it. And he's priming his followers by saying, I'll probably look bad just because the facts are against him, basically. But this is also career-ruining stuff, and he believes if he can get his foot in the door and maybe change Ethan's mind to convince Ethan personally that he's not such a bad guy, then it won't go that poorly, and eventually he can repair his reputation in some way. But it's really pretty much over. But the fact of the matter is, he's probably not going to have any growth from here on out. He's not going to have any more opportunities. He's already shot himself in the foot, and his audience, the fan base from which he draws his money, is just going to be this slowly shrinking cult.
What's your plan moving forward from this? I'm just going to keep doing what look, I like the politics. I've said this before, and I feel like maybe it comes across as conceited, but it's also true. A lot of people legitimately could not handle this level of stress. The eye of so many people of such hatred and scrutiny, and obviously it is stressful.
Is it just me, or does he look like he's sweating like a pig? Somebody tell me in the comments. I want to hear your opinions.
But I love the game. I do it for the love of the game, okay? I'm out here with 15 injuries on the bench, but I love playing ball. I like streaming. I'm not going to let this nonsense deter me. We're not coming up on. We're in an election year. There's work to be done. There's stuff to cover. There's opinions to offer. It's important. As brutal as it is, Biden has to win. As much as he's done to negatively impress himself upon me, he has to win, or at least Trump has to lose, God willing, some kind of miracle candidate. But no, it's Biden and Trump. Work has to be done. Canvassing has to be done. People have to be sent out. Cheese wheels have to be procured. And I have always done all of this, having to fight more of an uphill battle than basically anyone else. The amount of hate and vitriol that I get, but I still love it. And I'll keep with it, as best as I can.
I don't care. I'm doing it for the cause. It's an election year. I love it, baby. Bro, people on your own side have turned on you and now think you're into kids. It's over.
Ethan literally said the thing you do is admit you have sexual deviant problems and go to a therapist. You mean with regards to the horse thing? What would I tell a therapist? They'd be like, okay, I don't understand. What is that? I don't even know what that suggests. It's literally a joke, man. The horse thing is not a joke. We can't let this be smeared. Okay. If to whatever extent, people can say, we place it off as this or that. Okay. I'll make it clear. You can write this down. I want to fuck a woman as a horse. None of this is a secret. To be clear, many jokes have been made about this, but I stand by it. My moral principles are rock solid. My feet are firmly planted in the ground. I've got my boots up. They're planted firmly. You cannot move me from my position. This isn't a secret. Let's talk to a therapist. Well, why do you want to be the horse, Vaush? Because then I'd have a giant dick. Okay, couldn't you have a big dick the other way? Well, yeah, I could. I could have a big dick hypothetically in any variety of scenarios, but then it wouldn't really be a horse dick. Well, you could be a human with a horse dick. Yes, but then I wouldn't have that powerful stallion energy using it. There you go. That's it. That's the whole thing.
You need to be in therapy, Vaush, because normal people don't have this therapy because they aren't this addicted to porn like you are. This isn't a thought that enters someone's head. This is not a fantasy that psychologically healthy people have. And furthermore, with kinks, the issue is that you have non-sexual needs that are sublimated into kink. That is to say, you have emotional issues, other problems in your life, which you're now trying to resolve sexually. That is how and why people develop kinks, and also part of why they're regarded as shameful and taboo. It's because you have some sort of psychological issue which you haven't resolved, which you're then trying to act out sexually. And I don't even know what Vaush has going on in his head that makes him want to be a horse.
As long as you don't actually harm horses, a therapist won't be used. Well, if they ever develop some kind of invasive surgical procedure that does in fact harm a horse, but allows my consciousness to be transferred into their brain, then we might have an issue. When we get the Freaky Friday Vaush horse brain swap scenario, when that's on the table. So this, I assume this is like a Neuralink thing. So you should all be watching Neuralink with like, with bated breath, because that's the real avenue by which moral harm can be done here.
This is another major part of his damage control, a tactical L. Oh, ha ha ha, Vaush is into horse stuff, it's a big joke. He even went so far as to make the thumbnail of this stream a horse, and to change the background on his Twitter into him touching the finger of a horse that's God, to turn it all into one big joke. This is all part of his misdirection for his fans to salvage his reputation, because that's how bad this is.
They say you downloaded Lolicon. Deliberately disingenuous framing. I'll explain the whole thing. For those who don't know, 4 days ago, I was doing what I do, which is showing chat men's formal wear and talking at them about it for hours on end. And I was going to open up an image with right-click, open a new window, but instead I did right-click, save as. And it opened a folder called To Be Sorted. The To Be Sorted folder, which is where I put images that have yet to be sorted, and in case the name didn't indicate that, was the place that it went to because the file type of the image, which was like, I don't know, JPEG or something? I don't know. The last image that I saved to the To Be Sorted folder was an image of Marcel from Dungeon Meshi being roasted by Gordon Ramsay while cooking a mandrake. Hold on. Let me show you the architect of my pain. It's a good anime, guys, and a good manga. Anyway, I saved that there. And it opened up the folder preview, which showed thumbnails of images that I had in there. A lot of which were pornographic, most of which, though there were some non-pornographic images, including Reagan Ripley from Inside Job standing around in a bikini, I think. I don't know. And non-pornographic canon images of Rauru from The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, which is funny because there are far more pornographic images of Rauru in there than there are non-pornographic images. But honestly, Rauru just looks so good that even non-pornographic images feel pornographic to me. Yeah, an innately pornographic character design.
Notice how he goes deliberately disingenuous framing and then proceeds to go on a tangent and then not explain how. This is all misdirection to retain his viewer base. I'm not even sure I can say some of the stuff that was even on his computer. Like that was in these, I don't even know if I can describe it here. I'll try to mince my words, but one of the more egregious images was an underage individual with their face in the back end of a horse. Among other things, this is indisputable. This is not disingenuous framing. These are the pictures that people have identified that were on his computer.
I don't like it's. This is exact. So this is one of the reasons why stuff like this is impossible to clarify, because even talking about it comes across as like crazy defensive or whatever, right? But what else am I supposed to do? Let people like Ethan Klein lie and say that it was all like a folder full of Lolicon, or just explain it, you know? Anyway, one of the two images just flatly didn't look like Lolly. I don't give a shit. Like cope, I just don't care. Like disingenuous shit, you know? The other one is like a threesome with two chicks and a guy. And in retrospect, looking at it, knowing now that that artist is a Lolicon, yeah, I can see it. When I looked at it, I think the vibe that I got was like short stack, thick kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like the way like goblins get drawn in porn. You'll have to entertain me for a moment on this presumed shared knowledge of how goblins get drawn in pornography. But you know how they're all like thick short stacks, right? That was the vibe that I got, because in the image, the girl that's shown has super thick legs and has like tits and a belly. So that's just the vibe I got. But now knowing that the artist is a Lolicon, which I have been roundly reminded of, obviously knowing that it was intended to be a lolly drawing.
Knowing what I know now, as though it wasn't clearly obvious when he saw this image in the first place, complete cope, complete lie. He's just lying through his teeth to his followers. And isn't it funny how it took him this long to actually address what kicked off the whole stream with Ethan? It was the contents of this folder, because it is just so bad. And the context and all the other scandals he's been involved in and all the other dumb things he said just make this look that much worse.
And what's more, in addition to that, like on Twitter, all the Nazis who are like attacking me over this, all of them are saying shit like, I'm not mad at him for having lolly porn. That's based. I'm mad at him for the hypocrisy. I've seen at this point, by the way, literally dozens of screenshots of tweets that some of you guys helpfully throw my way. Thank you so much for keeping me involved on all the action, where they're effectively saying, you know, like, oh, we don't give a shit about Lolicon, right? It's just we hate Vaush, which is like, fuck, hi. Like they're just looking for affirmation, you know? So, and what am I supposed to do with that?
See how he's got to desperately deflect and say all my detractors are fascists who only care that I was hypocritical, not that I actually was doing the things I was doing. It's completely ridiculous. Yes, people on the right do hate you because you view this content.
Could you elaborate on the age of consent lowered with socialism thing that keeps getting spread around? Sure. Before I even had a stream, years and years ago, 2018, 17, I don't even know, a while ago, people in Destiny's Discord were doing what people in Destiny's community do, which is arguing everything. You know, they do love that over there. Talks on the age of consent, I remember being a pretty common discussion because at the time Destiny was doing quite a run with pedos like Amos-Yi. You know how it is in his community. Imagine that, but like concentrated in a Discord server, right? You can understand. So anyway, people were talking about the factors that make the age of consent necessary, which are, by the way, if you're young, it's easy to take advantage of you. Simple as, right? And I said, and this is a position that I now disagree with, by the way, but I said that under socialism, because economic inequities would be rectified, I imagine that you could argue the age of consent being 16 or something like that, because you no longer have the innate economic disparity between adults and kids. This is, by the way, the age of consent in the UK. So basically what I was saying was, in the future, the indeterminate future, hundreds or thousands or whatever years from now, when we have socialism, we might be able to live as the degenerate British do. Now, I disagree with this now. I no longer think that economic disparities are a primary factor in that, the degree to which young people can be exploited by older people. I think that it's much more socially weighted. And I think that's evidenced in large part by the fact that people are maturing, later than they used to. So nowadays, I feel like the age of consent should be increased and have some like Romeo and Juliet laws to cover the difference. But
keep doing that damage control, Vaush. We know you don't want to bang kids under socialism. We know you want to bang kids as your mind has been transferred into the body of a horse under socialism. Yeah, great clarification there. Makes it all better.
That's what people want, I think. I think one of the things that frustrates people who attack me in bad faith is that I don't cower from the bad faith arguments. A lot of people couldn't deal with the harassment or the like vile character assassinations, so they would have to retreat from it or whatever, thus giving the implication that they're hiding from something. But the frustration is that I am very presently defending all of it, or adding context, or correcting deliberate dishonesty. And as a consequence of that, people keep saying, Vaush, he's still around. Vaush, he's still around. Yeah, I've been remarkably relevant in spite of the hampering.
He may not be around much longer. Something tells me he's just not going to get around this hampering this time. And this entire video has been nothing but dodging everything they actually said. He has done everything but actually address what they said for like the third or fourth time. He didn't even watch their video. He's totally cowering.
No, Dragon Jake, nor am I interested in it. One of the reasons why I can do this and other people can't is that a lot of people feel a need when people are shit-talking them to observe it directly. if I observed directly all the people who hated me, then I would never have time for stream because the number of people who hate me is so substantial that I would just have to spend all my time doing that. It's pointless internet self-harm. If people have real substantive criticisms for me, you know, like something new that I haven't addressed or something like that, you know, then of course that's valuable. But if it's just buzzing noise.
Yeah, another major YouTuber who you previously were on good terms with, apparently, calling you out for having an interest in underage girl is just buzzing noise. Sure. Complete cope.
I love you all very much. I'll read the donations tomorrow. You're beautiful. Please take care. Again, I'm sorry about this. You know, I like arguing with people. I don't like arguing with people over stuff like this for reasons which I hope are really obvious and straightforward to all of you. I don't get any joy out of having to beat back all this nonsense. But I really do care about, you know, the foundation, right? The underlying stuff, the rhetoric, the politics, the life advice. I care about it. And when stuff like this happens, the main way in which it hurts me is that it makes me feel like I can't do that as much because it pulls my time and attention away from that, my energy away from that. And because, of course, it detracts from the spread of my audience and words generally, which I mean, I want to talk to people. I want to reach people. Even if they just watch and like don't donate or whatever. Like I want to get across to people.
And this is really the message that Vaush has to leave his followers with. He's this genuine guy who cares about issues, and Ethan Klein is trying to take him down for some mysterious, random reason, just for internet clout or drama or something, knifing him in the back. Doesn't even make sense why, but he's going to keep on keeping on because he cares about you and the issues and just weather this storm. I mean, I think the goal of this ultimately is to just try and bury his head in the sand, to just brush it over and hope that people don't talk about it and it doesn't actually ruin his career, because this is just horrendous. He is gooning to pictures of animated pictures of underage girls, right? Like, that's something that no respectable person would defend or support. This whole narrative that the right has about the left is that they're a bunch of degenerates who are not in control of their sexualities. And Vaush has proven that over and over again. And hopefully this is bad enough that he's just ruined. Hopefully enough of his followers wake up and leave, and enough other breadtube leftist YouTubers dogpile on this that his career is over, because this man is a monster. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it comprehensive and informative. Please share it, because that is the #1 way you can help this channel. And this has been Red Channels, and I will catch you in the next one.